While a bridge loan can get a bad rap, they can give you the opportunity to secure your next home and then take the time to sell your current home properly.
Go beyond the price. Okay, ask the agent what perhaps are some of the terms that would make your offer stand out or perhaps make it stronger so that the vendor can make a decision to take your offer and move forward with that transaction.
Typically, families are taking around 26 months to upgrade their home. Now, that is a lot of Saturdays spent at open homes. Today, we're asking the question, how can they get into their new homes sooner? According to realestate.com.au research, buyers looking to upgrade their home are taking just over 2 years to do so. Today, we're tackling the forever home dilemma with Clint Harris from the agency on the Central Coast and Westpac home loan specialist Michael Nguyen. They have helped countless families navigate this maze, so let's dive in. Our property seeker research shows that upgraders just simply are not compromising. They want that extra bedroom, they want that better school zone, and they also want that renovated kitchen. Clint, what are upgraders' biggest challenges?
I think that there's a few challenges that have come, particularly in the last few years on the back of COVID, such as an increase of building costs. So that renovation that perhaps was a lot easier pre-COVID is now a much bigger challenge because of that high cost. There's also been increasing interest rates. One of the most significant rate cycles that we've had, the battle inflation, that has also made it very sensitive on what we can afford and what we can perhaps service for to be able to access the ideal home.
Now, look, another recent figure from PropTrack shows that Aussies are staying in their homes around 13 years on average in both Sydney and Melbourne, and it's 10.5 years nationally. That is up from 8 years pre-pandemic. Michael, do you think this has to do with people's financial nerves?
Yes, it is an interesting one, Alice. Over the last couple of years, the movements in RBA, cash rate, inflation, and the cost of living crisis had made it more challenging for upgraders. Additionally, I think people are really put off the costs associated with moving, like stamp duty, legal fees, etc., because these figures can be eye-watering.
Oh, look, I imagine upgraders are also nervous because not only do they have to buy, but they have to sell. So what are your tips, Michael, then for buyers approaching that selling and buying dance?
Trying to perfectly time buying and selling is exceptionally difficult. While a bridge loan can get a bad rap, they can give you the opportunity to secure your next home and then take the time to sell your current home properly.
Look, quickly, Michael, can you just explain to us what is a bridging loan?
It's a short-term loan used to cover the financial gaps between buying a new property and selling the existing one. I really encourage people to use the Westpac Next Home Buyers Hub, model different scenarios as the first port of call.
Clint, do you think that this is a major handbrake to upgraders? What are your tips for buying and selling?
I think financials is the biggest handbrake that we've got when it comes to the journey of buying and selling. It's the scariest element as well. It implies the most amount of risk associated with the journey. Really knowing what your limitations are going to be is really important. I think having a very clear understanding of what you will sacrifice on and perhaps not sacrifice on ahead of going out and searching is going to be really important as well.
So, Clint, let's move on now to searching for that next property. What are your recommendations for upgraders on what they should and shouldn't compromise on?
Yeah, I think getting clear on what they really want is going to be absolutely critical. And perhaps location for me is always going to be right at the top of that. But, there might be some things that these upgraders really want that they haven't had in their previous home. So simply writing a bit of a T-chart on the pros and the cons of why they're actually doing this, and then assessing that of what's going to be mission critical to get right in that next home, I think is a really important tool. Just taking that time, sitting down and doing that. In fact, I've actually got a client that's doing that tonight, and they're sitting down, they've got the kids away at mum and dad's, they're taking dinner, and they're writing down what they really need in that next purchase. And they're a classic example of what a upgrader should do.
On that point, Michael, how easy is buying a property and then doing the work on it?
Yeah, there are a few options for affording renovations depending on your situation, like including the reno costs in your home loan amount, seeing how much equity you've got in borrowing against it, or taking out a construction loan option. Head online, check out a Westpac home loan renovation loan, tell us about your renos, and we'll suggest the best finance options for you.
Speaking of finances, let's talk about putting in an offer. Because, Clint, how do buyers get out of that rut? It's a scary proposition. So what are your tips for putting in the very best offer possible?
You're absolutely right. It's scary. And I think that one of the best things that we can do is build a relationship with the agents that you feel are representing a lot of homes in the market that you do want to buy in, and go beyond the price. Okay, ask the agent what perhaps are some of the terms that would make your offer stand out, or perhaps make it stronger, so that the vendor can make a decision to take your offer and move forward with that transaction.
Look, thanks again, Clint and Michael, for coming on the show and sharing all your great insights for our upgrader market.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Buyer's Handbook. Join us next time for more answers on the topics that matter most. For more help with your property journey, head to the Westpac How to Buy Hub on realestate.com.au. Conditions, credit criteria, fees and charges apply. Residential lending is not available to non-Australian resident borrowers. This information is general in nature and has been prepared without taking your personal objectives, circumstances and needs into account. You should consider the appropriateness of the information to your own circumstances and, if necessary, seek appropriate professional advice.
Real Talk acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, air and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present.